Lewis in the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Thursday. It is also February 14th.
We all got the pink-red memo today.
We did.
It's very different, though.
It is St. Valentine's Day, and do you have plans for your... if you forgot that it's Valentine's Day...
I don't have plans.
If you don't have plans and you're trying to figure out what to do for dinner for your sweetie, don't worry. We're coming to the rescue today. We've got some tips for you for last-minute Valentine's Day dinners.
We are doing something special now that I remember it, but that's only because my husband's been begging me for it for the last, 3 days, 4 days.
Going
it's a special
for a bike
food.
Ride?
No, it's food. No, he actually rode his bike this morning. Got out of bed
Well, it's 40-something degrees outside.
About at the time that you get out of bed, he got out of bed and went on a bike ride.
In the dark.
In the dark.
Oh, well, thanks be to God.
He came home.
It is a little bit warmer here in St. Louis, so we can get out and enjoy some of those things outside today. So maybe go for a walk with your sweetie for Valentine's Day if you're in a place where it's not 5 degrees.
Yeah.
You never know.
Or snowshoeing, maybe. I don't know.
Go.
Ice skating?
And, Valentine's Day is a great day to talk about a love story, too, right?
It is.
We're going to talk about a Lutheran love story. Don't turn us off just yet.
It's going to be really fun.
It's not mushy. Okay, maybe it's a little mushy.
It might be mushy. I don't know.
It might be. Thanks to our friends at Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour. Find out more about them at cuw.edu. cuw.edu. All right, so last-minute Valentine's Day dinner ideas. Probably too late to make reservations anywhere.
I don't know.
Yeah,
you could try.
Not speaking from experience or anything, but it's too late to make last-minute reservations. Here to help us with some ideas of how to go about a last-minute Valentine's Day meal in studio, Aaron Nielsen. He's with LCMS Disaster Response. Also, kitchen guru, has a degree in culinary arts. If you follow him on Facebook, he's the brains behind a Lutheran B&B as well, and author. He does. What don't you do?
There are a few things I haven't tried yet.
But
it's like multi-potentialate day in studio today.
It is. That's right. Just
throw that word out.
What all kinds of things we do. So Aaron, always cooking and always cooking great things and posting them on Facebook. I'm trying to figure out if he's trying to sell me food or something, because they're always very tempting pictures of food.
Here's the question: would you pay for it? And then I'll figure out a product.
That's a good idea. It's not that far away. I could actually just go, steal the food out of his kitchen when he's not looking. So,
well, now that you've told everybody, he's going to be looking.
He's going to be watching. So, are you making dinner tonight, or do you have dinner? Do you have reservations somewhere?
We don't have reservations, and actually, as you mentioned, I have a culinary degree, and we learned over and over again. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas Day, all of the holidays, you just avoid restaurants. The service is bad. The food's usually expensive and not worth the price. You just avoid restaurants. So I've told my wife from the beginning, I love you, but that's why I'm not taking you out on Valentine's Day. Thankfully, she believes me. So I'm off the hook in that regard. But I'll probably end up cooking something tonight. But since this is last-minute Valentine's Day recipes, I haven't decided yet.
Ooh, hey.
Right, so this is getting the juices going. We can decide on air.
I was afraid we were going to ruin the surprise for Mrs. Nielsen. If he already had if he had this big, elaborate plan for dinner, because when you see the things that he makes and he shares them on Facebook, I'm thinking that was an elaborate plan, but I'm getting the sense that maybe it's not always a big plan. Maybe it's just a
lot of times I choose about the day before, or sometimes during the day, like at lunch, I'll say, oh, you know what sounds really good? Chinese food. I don't want to go and get it. Let's make it,
Yeah. Well, or sometimes it's the get home and look in the fridge and say, what do I have and what can I make with it?
Exactly. My wife and I always joke about having a cooking show. There's the show Cutthroat Kitchen, where you have to cook something, but then there's all of these obstacles that you can give to each other and make it harder. And we thought a really fun... It's a great show. It's hilarious. Alton Brown is the host of it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my what's my doppelganger?
Oh,
apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
That's
well, we thought
true.
of an even funner show, or more fun show. Let's talk right here. Where
we don't do English.
You have a fully stocked kitchen with everything that you need, all the tools and ingredients you could possibly imagine, but any one of them could be rotten.
Oh, no.
And so you look in there and you start making your plan.
Chance.
You start making your plan and you start cooking. and then the key ingredient you needed is rotten, and you have to figure out something to do with it. It could be a really fun show.
What
I
is
would
this?
do that.
A
He's
show
just
that
making it
Oh,
up.
you're just making this
make
up.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Let's
that's
do
like
it.
reality in our
Right.
kitchen every week,
Well, that's the
especially when it
thing.
comes to produce.
Real
Like,
life.
when did we buy this? Oh, yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago. It's
Yeah.
not safe to use anymore.
Wah, wah. Is there mold on it? Maybe I shouldn't use that.
Scrape it
Does
off.
it smell good? Yeah, okay. We're fine. It's a smell test in our house. If it doesn't smell bad, we're using it.
This does not sound like Valentine's dinner is going to be
No.
very good.
Well, I already have ours planned out, but, we won't talk about my meals on this program. Aaron, do you have any favorite go-to last-minute meals or items that can make a meal? Because sometimes it's all about having the right ingredients in order to kind of throw something together at the last minute.
Absolutely. I always like to have some sort of meat in the freezer, just at all times, whether it's chicken, some sort of sausage, some sort of beef. I go with chicken most of the time because it's cheap, and you can buy it in bulk and throw it in the freezer, and then you always have something on hand. Keep a couple of cans of chicken broth or stock on hand. Always keep some rice and then some frozen vegetables. And you can usually make something good just with those three elements. And if you really want to make it fast, get yourself an Instant Pot. I'm serious about this. It feels like cheating, but it's totally not.
Well, because you mentioned keeping, various types of meat in the freezer, but if this is a last-minute meal, you can't thaw out a steak in like 5 minutes or 10
And
minutes.
that's where the Instant Pot comes in. It's fantastic. Set that thing for high pressure, 10 minutes, make sure it's covered up with liquid, and that's going to be thawed and cooked. By the time that thing gets up to pressure, cooks for 10 minutes, and then the pressure releases. I used to moonlight at a butcher shop on Saturdays, and our freezer was always full of sausages and meat and that sort of thing. And for breakfast, we would just throw a pound of sausage in the Instant Pot and cook it. And after about 15 minutes, it was ready. And so if you truly have forgotten to do anything, but it's in your freezer, you can still do something in the Instant Pot. But I would recommend thawing it first because you will get a better product in the end.
Yeah. So I guess rule number 1 for tonight, if you forgot, go buy yourself an Instant Pot first and then make your meal. Note to self.
That's a lovely Valentine's Day gift.
Isn't
right?
it? Here,
Oh, wait.
honey, look what I got you.
That breaks all the rules. Like anniversary and Valentine's Day should not be a gift that you plug in, right?
I mean, what about things that maybe you have a normal meal that is kind of, just what you have whenever? What can you do to make it fancier or more fun?
I got my wife to love Brussels sprouts.
Ooh, you got to cook them right.
You do have to cook them right. You can't overcook them. Greens in general, if you overcook them, they're going to be bitter. In fact, you get your mustard greens, you overcook them, they release these gases. That's literally mustard gas.
Oh, good.
So there you know.
Tip to everybody.
Absolutely.
Don't do that.
Don't
Fancy.
create mustard gas in your kitchen.
Won't feel well after that.
Cut up some bacon into small pits.
Oh, bacon makes everything better.
Absolutely. Bacon saves every meal. Cook that up, drain off the grease. Not all of the grease. You want some of that.
You want some flavor.
Right. Then you put your Brussels sprouts in. I like to cut my Brussels sprouts in half just to make them a little bit more bite-sized and just kind of saute those until they're nice and soft. And then put a little bit of brown sugar, a little salt and pepper, and then if you want to put some sort of spices on there, you can, but it doesn't need it at that point. And that'll take Brussels sprouts, which is usually that meal that kids and most people just say, I hate, which is actually a pretty healthy vegetable, and turns it into something that people actually say, wow, I'm going to eat Brussels sprouts all the time now. And that's happened for us. We've taken it to parties and dinners, and people just love it. So that's a great way. You probably have brown sugar somewhere. You probably have Brussels sprouts in your freezer because you were on a health kick after Christmas saying, I'm going to eat more vegetables.
Yeah, well,
And now you know what to do with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the number 1 rule about Brussels sprouts is never boil them.
No,
It is
no.
just not. Just don't. Oven's the way to go.
There is a restaurant here in St. Louis that I've been to before where they serve them like that, but they don't cut the bacon just into tiny little bits, and they probably don't drain off any of the grease because they're just smothered in bacon. They're delicious that way. But I've been one of our side dishes, our vegetables lately. I think I might have gotten this idea from you, Sarah. Is just a variety of vegetables on like a tray or cookie sheet, little olive oil, little salt.
Or a lot of olive oil.
Or a lot of olive oil.
If you live in my house.
Modest amount of salt. And just roast them in the oven.
It's so
And
easy.
It's so easy.
And you can
so
do the same
good.
thing with broccoli, too.
Yes.
Broccoli's the
Cooks
best.
real well that way.
Pan frying cauliflower is actually really good.
Yeah.
My father-in-law had never heard of that until he came to our house, and he's like, "You're pan frying cauliflower?" But he actually ate some, and it was really good.
I know some people on like the South Beach diet, they'll do that and they'll toss it in buffalo sauce, and then you get kind of your buffalo wing fix.
Yeah.
So here's your last minute Valentine's Day dinner. Throw the steak in the Instapot. Is that right?
You can do that. I would, if it's thawed, I would recommend thawing it if you have the time. Brown it on both sides. Make sure you cover that up with some beef broth. Then you cover it with rice. Make sure that rice is fully covered. And then you put that on 10 minutes on high pressure. Start that, let it come up to pressure, let it cook for 10 more minutes after the timer has gone out, and then release the pressure, and you're going to have steak that's tender, juicy, and delicious. You're going to have rice that's flavorful and nice and moist. You scoop that onto the plate. You put your steak on. If you want, you can slice it into some nice pieces, garnish it with some parsley, your simple poor man's garnish there. And you have a plate that looks delicious that your wife's going to think that you slaved over for hours, and she's going to love it.
And then just cut up some vegetables, throw them on a cookie sheet in the oven, right? And
Exactly.
you got your side dish there. They don't take very long in the oven to roast. Yeah,
No.
pretty good. And, it's Valentine's Day. You want something red, throw some beets in there.
You could do that.
You could do that.
All right, so hopefully we didn't ruin your surprise for Mrs. Nielsen this evening for Valentine's Day dinner. But you already have the Instapot, right?
I do have the Instant Pot.
Well,
I
then
don't
you're
have to go
set.
right out and get that.
So to have to stop and get one on the way home. Aaron, thank you so much for your tips for
my
our
pleasure.
last-minute Valentine's Day dinner for your loved ones, for your sweetie this evening. Speaking of sweeties, we've got a story about, a nice little love story. It goes
A couple hundred years ago.
couple hundred years ago.
Fine.
You're listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.